I had planned it up to about 2 sentences, and I'm like, yeah, just wing it from there. Oh man, welcome to the Just Gaming Podcast, everybody. I hope you guys are having an absolutely fantastic week. It is yet again another fantastic week for RPGs, and it's another beautiful week that you guys are all here to join us to talk about them. So thank you for stopping by and welcome. My name is Ian.
And I'm Mark.
And that's Mark. Welcome to the Just Gaming Podcast. We have a great deal of things to talk about today. There is a lot of things to talk about. So like, I mean, just normal goofy stuff, like life stuff aside, I really haven't like played too many games this week, to be honest. Like I played some Starfield, obviously, we'll get into that. I played, a healthy amount of Baldur's Gate, like at least what I could. But like with work and then also like trying to make videos and stuff on the side, it's been a little bit difficult to actually play anything.
Yeah. Well, I mean, we got a lot done on our tactician playthrough.
Yes, or day before yesterday, right?
Yeah, we got quite a bit done, and we both got to play Starfield and chat with each other while we played Starfield. I've had a weekend, man. I've had a weekend.
Yeah. Mark is super quiet. Okay, I can bring Mark up.
Yeah, I turned my mic down so you wouldn't get any feedback.
Okay, I'm gonna bring Mark up to about there. Let me know if that's any better.
Are we doing pretty good?
Just keep talking.
All right.
Just keep talking.
Washing machine dice. Had to buy a new washing machine. Not that big of a deal. Whatever. Got a new washing machine yesterday. Went to go run the disposal today, and like it was just like humming. So I was like, okay, well maybe the things I gotta push the button on the bottom. Whatever. Open it up. Plume of smoke is flying out from under my sink. Disposal on fire. Yeah.
Beautiful. That's great. So you've had to spend some life money, real life money.
Yeah, right. Like the weekend before I go on vacation, too. It's always the best.
Okay, Mark, you can bring your mic up just slightly, I guess. Don't be too crazy with it. Yeah.
Yeah. So I had to spend a lot of money before I go to the Bahamas this weekend.
Dude, that was like when that was like the week when. See, now I'm getting feedback from you. God damn it. It's that fucking headset you switched to.
It is.
It was better when you used the cheap green one. So that reminds me of when I had the refrigerator go out. You know what I mean? And like the apartment complex is like, well, you need to pay for that. And I'm like, I didn't know. Like, it's not even my fridge. They're like, well, it's your problem.
Yep. Your problem. We don't supply refrigerators.
This is some bullshit adult stuff I didn't fucking sign up for. This is not what I want to deal with. If a GPU or CPU goes out, yeah, I'll deal with that stuff, no problem. But when it comes to like house things, boring.
Yeah.
Boring.
Yeah.
So, work's kicking up. It's picking up a lot more. I've had a lot less time to focus on the things that I enjoy focusing on. But I still got to release a few videos this week. I'm working on a few more for next week. There's an article that I want to go over that I actually found early last week but didn't get to touch because I want to talk about Armored Core 6 a little bit. There's a couple interesting things that I found with Armored Core 6. Whether or not I do anything on Starfield yet, I don't know. I just haven't really figured out. There is a video that I do want to do, but it's going to take a little bit longer for me to get everything together for it.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to play a lot more of it to understand the full range and scope of that game.
Yeah. So let's talk a little bit about. I guess we'll talk about the elephant in the room first, right? Let's go ahead and talk about Starfield for a little bit. There's some Baldur's Gate stuff I want to get into later, as well as a couple other things too, just with other RPGs and stuff that I want to talk about. Some other stuff we're looking forward to. The future. So Starfield. Where do I start? I'm going to start with the start. How about that? I'm going to start with the start. Okay. So I'm going to say this. I actually do really like Starfield. However, at the same time, the problem is that coming straight off of Baldur's Gate, and into Starfield is incredibly jarring. Like it's especially when you're thinking like I'm playing one RPG and I'm going into another RPG. Like it's a rocky hop because they are very different games made by very, very different studios with very, very different ideas of what and how an RPG should play or be experienced.
Yes, they definitely have a particular set of skills.
And I think the most unfortunate thing for Starfield, is that it's coming out after Baldur's Gate 3. If Starfield came out this summer before Baldur's Gate ever hit, the story around Starfield and I think a lot of people's perceptions would be completely different. And it's not because like Starfield's bad in any way, not at least not that I really think. I mean, it definitely has some pain points, and we'll kind of get into that stuff. But the one thing that I noticed, and this is what I plan on making a video on this, is that like the voice acting in the games are so drastically different, and the way companion characters and NPCs are presented to you are so completely different that's where it gets really jarring, and that's where all of a sudden your opinion starts to shift. And like I was even telling you while I was playing it, and I'm like, dude, I'm trying not to be super judgmental about this game, but it is super hard not to, just coming off of Baldur's Gate. Like, it's really hard not to compare the two games when really I don't. In some ways you should, because that's how you do it to everything. I think I saw somebody say this, and I'm getting a little ADD right now, but I saw somebody say, you know, well, we should. Why is everybody's always comparing everything to Baldur's Gate now? And I'm like, well, that's because that's what you do with any product that you purchase. It's not like you go and you eat a steak and you just think of just that steak in a fucking vacuum. No, you compare it to every steak that you've ever had in your life, whether that steak is as good as the other ones. Because at the end of the day, you can swap out the sim part of the RPG or the C out of the RPG, but at the end of the day, it's still a RPG. So you're still going to compare it and contrast it in different ways. So like I think there's some ways that there's fair comparisons. I do know that there's a ton of ways that they're not fair comparisons. But the ones that like really jumped out at me was how companions and NPCs are presented. And It's specifically because in Baldur's Gate 3, the companions, and this is what the video I'm going to do is that the companions in Baldur's Gate 3 are a performance.
Yeah.
Whereas in Skyrim, it's just your generic
Skyrim.
Yeah, it's just your Skyrim. Thank you. It's the same fucking thing. Starrim. In Starrim, in Starfield, it's the same thing. Like it's not necessarily as much of a performance as it is like this is a voice actor. I don't know how to say any better than that.
Like okay, so in Baldur's Gate, my comparison with Baldur's Gate is that their NPCs and their companions, they all have character. You know what I mean? That's the thing. They have character. They have personality. And then when you look at what I've run into so far with No Man's Skyrim, is they don't have as much character. They're far more shallow characters than you understand what I mean? Like, yes, they've got their motivations, they've got their depths, but like when you're in a dialogue with them, it can go from them being pissed off with you in one sentence, and then the next sentence they're like, "Oh yeah, you're right," and then immediately, "No, that's stupid." You know what I mean? It's just like it doesn't make sense.
Yeah.
Like it doesn't have any. It's not very fluid in the conversation.
Yeah, synthetic life form. Yeah, I think that's honestly, that's the thing, is that specifically with just how characters are portrayed. And here's the thing, and it's actually really not even like a knock against Starfield or Bethesda, to be honest with you. It's actually just how most games present characters.
Yeah.
Even characters that are like plot specific. There's very few games, and this isn't to say that there aren't a ton of games that do a great job. Like I would say God of War does a really good job. Gears of War even has done a great job of presenting characters.
Gears of War does
you know
a
what
really
I mean?
good job,
just dialogue in between fights and stuff like that. How characters are portrayed in cutscenes. I think that there's much more performative nature to a lot of other games. However, like some of these more like sim RPGs, like Starfield, Skyrim, stuff like that, it's always just been this very like shallow presentation of other characters in the world. And like I know somebody said something about I think Raphael said something about how like characters are connected to the main story in one way or another in Baldur's Gate. But the thing is that like the cool thing with Skyrim, and this is something that I would say is a definitely peak point for. God, damn, I keep seeing Skyrim, Starfield. Damn it, man, Starfield. The thing is with Starfield is that so many side quests are quite literally a campaign in their own. Like I started doing one for I think the UC, so like the Marines or whatever, and that literally turned into what would be a main quest in any other game. And to be honest with you, it actually seems more interesting than the main quest in Starfield already. But yeah, so that's my monologue so far with my initial experience. It's jarring when you meet some of the NPCs and how they're portrayed. However, like there's a ton of other great things. There's a ton of things that are great about the game that overshadow that anyway.
Yeah. And where you are talking about it being compared to Baldur's Gate and how we compare everything to everything else, I've noticed. I'm just gonna tap on the reviews part of it. I don't care what a game reviews personally. I really don't. But I've noticed that in the reviewers are using the same verbiage. They're all use the same verbiage. They'll use lines like, "This is the least buggy Bethesda game they've ever made. This is," or like, "This is the best story Bethesda's ever made." They keep doing stuff like that, right? To where if like for me. And we'll talk more about it when we get to the pains part of it. Like for me, if I go into it thinking, okay, is this the best Bethesda game? I'm just going to compare this game to other Bethesda games. That's all I'm going to do. Other Bethesda, Skyrim, Oblivion, whatever. And that's kind of gotten me in a better place with it. But it's for me, the most jarring thing of it is Skyrim came out 11 years ago. Oh, more than that. It came out in 2011. And they haven't changed the way that they deliver a story yet. No. I'm not saying that they need to change their recipe. But this like the mechanics in this game for storytelling are 2011 Skyrim.
Do you know what? Something not to interrupt you.
And it feels old. It feels old to me. Not
to break your thought point, but one of the things that like I realize that I absolutely hate in RPGs, especially in like first person sims and stuff like that, like Starfield, I hate escort missions. Like where you have to follow an NPC, like, "Let me take you to my office," and I'm just like, stop, walk, stop, walk, stop, walk, stop, what? And it's like it feels like eternity that I'm following this character, and I'm like, why is this the case? I would much rather you just I'd rather just Jesus take the wheel and it just walk my character towards where I need to go, in some RP walk, rather than me have to follow an NPC over to their office. It's like you have to do that at the very beginning sequence of the game, the very beginning part of Starfield, like right when you first load in, you have that where you have to follow somebody through the mines. And I'm like, who thought that this is a good idea? You know what I mean? Like, who thought this was like? I'm sitting there and I'm like, why do you want this to be the way that's like intro to your game? I'd rather it be like
one of the most anticipated titles of the year, and you've got to spend the first 12 minutes listening to some dude talk about rocks.
Yeah, and it's a walking simulator.
Oh my God.
You know what I mean? I would have much rather it have been like, if I'm already a duster and I'm a rock breaking dude, why am I not just already working? And then all of a sudden, just like some shit goes down. You know what I mean? It's like, whoa, what's going on? And then everything changes, right? Why does it have to be like, hey, this is your orientation, Dusty. Come on and follow me for 5 minutes. And I'm like, dude, this is such a boring entry into a game. At least, do you know what? Like, at least in Skyrim, you're arrested. You know what I mean? Like you're going to the gallows.
Going to your execution, yeah.
You're going to. So it's like that's a really cool entry into a game. So it's just it's just like, man, this is like a really weak intro. And to be honest with you, it was such a weak intro for the main story that I was just like, I'm just gonna go side quest instead. And then that's a boon to the game, is because the side quests are really cool and there's a lot of really interesting things going on with them.
Yeah.
Right. But it was just the poor delivery on the main quest that I'm just like, I'm fucking out of here. So I'm like, I don't want to have anything to do with this quest. I'm gonna go. Where's the aliens? And then you find out there are none that you know of, at least. Yet.
Yeah. And back to what I was saying is, like, Skyrim's a really great game. It really is. And I think I keep calling it No Man's Sky. Starfield is I think is a good game. But like I said, I don't think Bethesda as a studio pushed themselves. Like they said, we've pushed I don't think they changed enough or done enough to make it feel like it's not Skyrim. Like the bones of it. I don't know if that makes sense. The bones of it.
Oh, like no, it's a Bethesda game through and through.
That's why I'm saying they haven't moved forward at all, and I don't think rewarding them for not moving forward. Yes, it's a cool story and cool what they're doing, but I don't know. I don't reward them for doing the same old.
So here's the thing. I have two opinions on this. There's one where we genuinely, and I would imagine chat, you guys can either agree or disagree with me, and that's fine. But we're always looking for two things. We always want either A, nothing to change at all, because all we want to do is chase the nostalgia of the games that we've already enjoyed. Or B, we want them to evolve and change themselves entirely. And now both of those things cannot coincide. Really good example of this is something like Halo or something like that. You know what I mean? Like, what do we really want from that game other than it being the same thing? You know what I mean? Like, what do we want?
You could do that with Call of Duty. You could do that with anything.
Yeah. So and so there's like part of us that wants some of it to stay the same, because that familiarity is what draws us to those games to begin with. Because we're just sucking the pipe that is nostalgia. But then at the same time, we also have like we want it to change. We want it to be something new. We want it to be a new experience. Yep. And to be honest with you, I think for the most part, it does feel new to me. Like there's a lot of things that I do actually really like about Starfield. But if I had to be like, why would you like where? Okay, so all right, I'm going to talk about the things that I like about Starfield, and then I'm going to talk about the things that it's not even like there's things that I don't like about Starfield. No, there's things that I fucking hate about Starfield.
Oh, you don't want to get me started.
I hate. Like, it's maddening stuff. So the things that I really love about Starfield, I actually do like how it looks. I think it's pretty. I think it's a really pretty game. And a game of its size.
Indoor environments and textures look really nice.
Space looks fucking sick.
It's a little
planets and stuff.
It's a little washed out. Do
not take what I'm saying to you, which is my opinion, and throw it into the ground. You piece of shit.
It's invalid. So
stop invalidating my opinion, you asshole.
Go ahead.
I think it looks good. You can think whatever you want, okay? You can think whatever you want. I think it looks good. I think space looks cool, man. I think it does look cool. I think the ships and stuff look cool. If you think it's washed out, take away the film grain.
I've turned film grain off. It has to do with the built-in HDR on their deal. It's just washed out. Their blacks are grays.
I like how so if I'm just talking about like looks, I actually really like the architecture in the game.
Okay.
That's actually something I'm really impressed by. And I like when I always look at games, I always try to look at things like more nuanced rather than just being like, it look pretty game, look good.
I like colors and stuff.
Yeah, that
shadows.
That NPC got a big old butt.
She caked.
Yeah. So I try to look at things more nuanced, and like one of the things I do really like is I like the architecture of the game. Like I like how cities are actually looked and built and stuff like that. How some of the buildings look. I think it looks really cool. So I do like the artistic ideas and that kind of stuff. The combat actually does feel really good.
Mm-hmm.
Even though the combat feels better, the NPCs are still dumb as like dried rice. Like I mean, they're just
Yeah.
they're so dumb. Like the
Yeah, they are.
NPCs are so dumb. Like it's Bethesda AI at its best, where you just have enemies that are like, I fought a boss and he just ran into a wall until he died. So it's just like, well, there we go. That was challenging.
Oh my gosh.
And then I also like the fact that, and you probably unlock powers or something later on, because I saw that was part of like the main story or whatever.
Yeah.
But I kind of like playing vanilla right now, where I'm just playing as an adventurer. I don't have a pit boy or something like that to stop time every 5 seconds and kill people. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I actually kind of like playing it vanilla right now, so that's actually really nice to have that choice to not have to have something like that to lean on. Though I will want to get to that, because you know those kind of executions and stuff are always cool to see. Let's see here, what else. I do really like the side questing and the stories and stuff like that. I really like the new revamped skill system. I like how that plays out. I wish it was a little bit more natural with some things. And we'll get into that soon. What else? Yeah. Like, it does still have that idea, or it does still have that feeling of like vastness that I was really looking for. So far as now, within a certain scope. Okay. Obviously that vastness is boxed in by the game. But what I mean is that like, I have 23 hours in the game. I have not fucking done anything. Like it's a big game, and I do really enjoy that, just like ongoing adventure where you really can just get lost in doing some random stuff.
Yeah.
That's the one thing that's always been really endearing for me when it comes to Bethesda games or Skyrim or Fallout or anything like that, is that like literally I can just go somewhere and then just get lost doing a bunch of random stuff. I could just go to a star system, explore those planets, find a bunch of random missions or something like that, an outpost or whatever to raid. I can spend hours just doing that kind of stuff, and I never get bored of it. Like, I enjoy doing those kind of things. So, like, that is something that is still there at its core, and that's something that I still really enjoy. Yeah, so I think, like, progression feels really good. I think the multitude of, like, areas to explore and also quests to do is really good. And then I like the way like a lot of the architecture and the artwork or the art style. I really do like the art style.
That's fair.
Music too. Music's actually really good too.
The music is really good. My only complaint with the music is it seems like it doesn't play at in the right times. Like when you're in heavy combat and it's playing like a very orchestrated, orchestra type deal, but it doesn't match what I'm seeing and feeling on screen. You know what I mean? It just doesn't. It doesn't match.
I think some of that is bug related as well, because I've had like big bad boss combat music going while I'm just in conversation and I've already killed everybody. It just hasn't clicked over yet that there's an enemy that's like, maybe there's one that's like bugged into a wall or something. I have no idea. But yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Well, so what are some of your gripes?
Well, I mean, is there anything you like about the game, or do you not have?
No. Yeah, the game's terrible.
I like how you're just like, let's talk about the bad shit already.
Yeah, no. I do. There's stuff that I really like about the game. I like that they used the HUD element of changing your or dividing your units in your ship for different deals, like your engine, your laser, all that stuff. They took that from Elite Dangerous. I don't know if you've ever played that game, it's a really good system to use. I thought the gunplay was probably like, that's one, I think Fallout, like I don't like Fallout's gunplay. It just seems real floaty, like you're I don't know, like it's on marshmallows. I don't know if that makes sense. But the gunplay felt pretty good in the game. And like I said, I love Bethesda games, so I've enjoyed the Bethesda part of it. Have you ever walked through New Atlantis and just looked at the I call them NPCs. They're the ones that you don't like get any conversation out of them. They're just like there for filler. You ever walk by them and their eyes are just like this? One's like rolled up, one's rolled down.
I'm going to murder you.
It's great.
Wait till you sleep.
Yeah, I thought the textures on everything looked really, really sharp. So on your rig, were you getting any like performance issues? I felt that it tried to stay as solid as possible, like around the 60-ish area, but it can jump up. But then there's times that I'll go into a really populated city and I'll hop down to like 45 frames per second, and then it'll pop back up.
Once I did a fresh install, I haven't had any performance issues. I will say, like, frame rates do generally suck in the big city. And big cities and stuff like that, I can only really pull like 40 or so, even though I have a 3080, which is just mind-boggling to me.
Yeah.
And mind you, I am playing on ultra, right? So I'm definitely trying to hit the higher end of the game. But
I think that has to do with not having DLSS on there, though. To be honest with you.
Yeah, but that's also because they haven't really had any discussions or anything like that with NVIDIA, because they didn't have a day one driver. Which is did they?
Yeah.
When did it post? I haven't seen it.
It posts. Their driver was the last driver update, the main driver update. It was part of it.
Oh, I'll have to look at it. Maybe I just
AMD had one. NVIDIA had one ready, and so the only people who didn't was the Intel Arc group, and apparently the game is not running great on that at all. So
who would guess? All those Intel GPU owners.
All seven.
All seven of them, yeah.
But no, I enjoyed. I like this. I love space, and so that's been the biggest part. I like how there's different gravities on different planets. Yeah. So when you jump, some of them are a little more floaty than others. I like that. It's kind of cool.
Okay. All right. So I guess we're going to talk about the things I fucking can't stand. All right. I'm going to tell you one thing. And this is something that's like a huge contrast to Baldur's Gate 3, and this is one of those things that I have to compare the two games on, is locked chests. At least in Baldur's Gate, I can send those to my camp and open them later, or just smash them. But there are so many chests and so many things that I can't unlock, and it won't even give me the chance to even try, and I just leave it. Am I going to come back? Probably not. Probably never. That thing will always stay locked. I will never come back to that chest. You want to know why? Because the quest is complete. And this is on a planet in the middle of nowhere, and I'm never going to see it again. Like, give me some option to do something with those chests. You know what I mean? Make it difficult. Give me only one chance to be able to. I don't give a shit. Give me something, though. But do you have any idea how many chests I come by that I cannot unlock or even touch? And I'm like, dude, and the thing is, like, I'm trying to level up my lock picking, but it's impossible when the game doesn't give me anything to unlock. What the fuck? I'm sitting there and it's like, I'm still like 4 out of 5 on things I'm able to unlock. And I'm like, I feel like the other games like Skyrim or Fallout are like way better at giving you earlier stuff to be able to unlock, to level that stuff up quickly. But in this case with Skyrim, it's just some of the first few boxes I find are Starfield. Sorry. Some of the first few boxes that I find are all master, advanced, master, expert, and I'm like, dude, like, give me some novice ones so I can level it up and I can unlock the next tier and then I can do that. But like, I can't find anything. I can't honestly find anything, and it's so infuriating as a game that's an RPG that like loot defines your character and and everything like that. Like, that's the point. That's why we like playing RPGs. We like loot and building characters, and I'm barred from loot all the time because I can't level up my lock picking because I never find anything that is low enough for me to be able to lock pick. Do you disagree?
No, I agree with you 100%.
Do you not like? I would imagine everybody. Shame. I can't be the only person experiencing this.
That's just a damn shame. Oh, it's just a damn shame. Yeah. I think I had I was getting annoyed with it, and it's like, I know it's the Bethesda charm, but this is where I bring I call back to what I was said about this being dated. When I'm trying to look at something in a cabinet, I open a deal and try to grab something out, that stupid effing robot just wants to walk right in front of me in the cabinet and just stop.
I have
right
the
there.
girl with me.
He was like this. Well, I have the girl with me now, but he's just like, I'm like, dude, I'm trying to pick up that roll of Band-Aids. Can you get out of the way? So I have to move over here, then run back real quick after he moves to try to grab it before he walks back. So stupid. Silly stuff like that.
Yeah, I mean, the NPCs and stuff, I mean, we can, I mean, it's a Bethesda game. The NPCs have functioned the same way for 25 years.
Yeah, and that's what I'm saying. That's why, like, I'm not judging them solely on it, but to me, like, I think it's a good game. I just don't think they reached far enough. I just don't.
Yeah.
You know what my biggest gripe is with the game? Space, the final frontier, where you get to fast travel to wherever the fuck you need to go, because that's how we're gonna do it. That's my biggest problem with the game. The game's good, story's good, space travel is not good. Space travel is an afterthought.
Yeah, I'm gonna be honest. Like initially, so I had relatively low expectations for Starfield, just because I felt like a lot of people were shooting very high. You know what I mean? They're shooting very high for what they expected Starfield to be, specifically because the fact they're like, well, you know, look at all these other great RPGs that we've had. You know, Bethesda has had to have come a long way. You know what I mean? It's been a long time. They've been working on this game for a long time. They've been given all the time in the world to do it by Xbox, right?
Yeah.
So, like, they have a lot of freedom here. I can't wait to see what they were able to do. And I realized that they tried to go for a more, what they believe to be realistic space travel. Because, you know, well, you're not going to actually fly from planet to planet because that would take forever. Well, it's like, I get what you're trying to do, but we're playing a video game. And your basis is already unrealistic to begin with, because we can't do any of this shit because it's a video. It's not real. We don't go to these planets. You know what I mean? We haven't settled the star systems, so you have no idea what to really base that realism off of. Realize, like, you know what the players want. You know the players wanted to travel from star to star, from planet to planet. You know we wanted to just fly in and land wherever we wanted to go. And I realize that there are some hardware and technology limitations that are keeping them from doing the things that they would maybe have. And here's the thing, and it's still speculation for us to say that the Xbox Series S is what limited this game. And it's even more speculation to say that they even wanted to do that in the first place. That's even more speculation to say, well, Todd and them wanted you to be able to fly down to the planet wherever you wanted to and walk around the entire world. Maybe that wasn't the vision that they had. That's on them to have that vision, right?
It is.
But it was more of the player base that was the one. It's a two-part thing. One, the player base thought No Man's Sky Skyrim, right?
Yep.
And then also at the same time, their verbiage and their wording very much led a lot of people to believe that's the route they were going. And here's the thing: they never stopped from leaning into that.
No.
They easily could have been like, "Hey guys, and do you remember this? Guys, everybody in chat, I need you to know. They call me Ian the Prophet. Okay? I prophesize these video games. Okay? I said this during the Starfield Direct. We watched the Starfield Direct live on this channel, and I was like, you're only going to be able to travel to specific points on the planet, and you're going to be locked into a zone, and that's it. And I had a few people that were like, no, dude, no, that's not what it's going to be. And I'm like, what I'm seeing on screen is us landing in very specific key interest points, and we're locked into that area, and that's the area that we explore. And then people are like, oh, well, you can land wherever you want to. And I'm like, and here's the thing. I actually didn't even know about the whole random generated single tile area where you can land anywhere you want. So, like, that actually was above my expectations. So when I found out that you could do that, I was like, oh, wow, that's crazy. And then I realized that the rest of the community, or the people that were excited about Starfield, thought you were just going to be able to walk from those cities to, like, anywhere on the planet. And I'm like,
yeah, that's unrealistic.
And me, I'm just sitting there and I'm like, who thought that? I'm like, yeah. How? Like, don't get me wrong. Like,
unrealistic.
Or then people would go, well, No Man's Sky can do it. And it's like, yeah, but No Man's Sky also doesn't have nearly as many complex systems as Starfield does. Yeah. So, like, there's some limitations there. And I mean, I get that. But the thing is that what I didn't realize is just how bad that would feel.
It would, and the main reason, and here's the thing, I want to clarify my space issue. Okay, my space issue isn't that I can't fly my ship to here and there, or even to fly it into an atmosphere to fly into the planet. That's not my issue. The issue is the amount of space that I'm allowed to be in my ship around a planet. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
It honestly feels like it's about this big, and then you're just like the. You're not moving, everything's just moving towards you, and then like this, it just doesn't feel very good. But no, the reason I don't play Elite Dangerous is because you can sit there and fly all the way if you wanted to. You know what I mean? But it takes a long time to get to London in a rowboat, right?
Yeah.
It just takes a long time. If they would have like,
what is this shit I'm seeing in chat? Name some complex systems to us. Okay, I will. All right, I will. Yeah, I'll call you guys out. I see you out there talking shit. Okay, think about all of the NPCs that you can talk to and discuss things and get quests from and things like that in No Man's Sky. All the random people in the cities. All the cities that are in No Man's Sky that you can walk around and talk to. Think about how complex...
How about that story? How complex the story is in that game.
Well, and when I'm saying complex systems, I'm not talking about like just a progression system. I'm talking about all of these systems that are all intertwined into one they're a layer over the rest of the game. There's a ton of other things that are in Starfield that don't exist in No Man's Sky. So making a direct comparison to the game, though one does exist in space as the other one does as well, is not what we're trying to talk about. What I'm saying is that there's so many other moving parts in the game that require you to be able to, like, there's just more going on.
Yep.
Where I've played No Man's Sky. No Man's Sky, you fly into a space. Yeah,
you gotta separate the two. You have to take what Starfield is doing with story, NPC, everything that Ian's just saying, and that's what they did well. So that's why everything else, the space part of it, got shafted. Okay,
yeah.
No Man's Sky does really well on the space stuff, and that's why it doesn't have any of this other stuff.
Like, yeah, there's not a lot of progression systems and things like that for you to be able to do. Yeah.
Yeah. So they're two separate games that could make a whole, but it's like I said, that was just my disappointing part on Starfield. It was just the space part. That's what I was looking most forward to. I was so, you can ask Ian, I was so jaded and tilted about it that I didn't even want to play the game. Like, we were playing it, I just turned it off and went and started playing something else.
Yeah. Yeah. Like, so that was one of the disappointing things, to be honest with you, is that like I felt they're like, oh well, they're going to be offering all of these other things, but to be honest with you, like, all right, people that are fans of Starfield are probably not going to like this. Everything in this game ends up just being like, it looks like it's something so huge, but it's really just an inch deep. And I saw that as like one of the reviews that people were giving a lot of shit to. I think it was GameSpot. GameSpot made the comment that the game, like, it seems like it's vast, but everything in the game is only an inch deep. And that's so true. Like, everything in this game is so very surface level. Like, outside of like quests have long quest chains and stuff like that, which is really cool, but the personality of all those characters and all those stories are very surface level. The equipment and stuff like that, very surface level still, even with that. Like, it's really not all that complex or anything. Space, very surface level. It looks vast when you roll out to it, but then you realize everywhere you are existing in just a fishbowl. And you really don't have very much navigation around it. Like, I don't even think you can even fly around a planet. You can just fly towards it, but you're just in a box in front of the planet where they've randomly generated a couple of spaceships for you to fight. Like, it's such... That's the stuff that actually aggravates the shit out of me, is that there's a lot of, like, fake freedom.
Yes.
There's a lot of fake freedom, and it's like,
yes.
And the thing is that we think back to reasons why we liked playing other Bethesda games in the past, and the reason why we liked it was because I could point my character in one direction and just fucking go, and I could just go find something, some NPCs, some towns, some quests, something. I could adventure around a dungeon, whatever it is. I could go find something. But you can't just do that in this. You have to pick a point, teleport to that point, go to that point, go inside, and then go down in there. Mm-hmm. You know, and then go down to that planet, and then you're within this small box of an area that you can explore. Yep. And it's so limiting to the player experience.
Yep. And people arguing for I heard people arguing that, well, Sky, you teleport in Skyrim and all that stuff. Yes, but I had to walk over there first to unlock that the teleport spot, the fast travel spot. I had to walk over there to do that.
Yeah.
I don't have to do that in Starfield. I don't even have to visit that place, but except for just the game says, oh, you need to go here, so stop here and then go there. It shows me exactly where I'm going to fast travel to. I'm not actually figuring out where I'm going. It's telling me exactly where to go. You know what I mean? So it's not like it's, and that's when we had the conversation, you kind of got a little sassy with me about it. That's where I felt like the story and the exploration of this game feels like it's on rails because of it. So that's why I just feel that way.
Yeah. And like some of the stuff that they do that also just limit the way that you can even explore, like even trying to go from system to system, you have to jump from system to system to system because that's the limitations of your grab drive, or it's the limitations of whether or not you've explored that area. And like in some ways, like I get what they're trying to do, but the problem is that there's a difference between trying to root the game in some type of realism and just giving the player the freedom to just go play the game. And in a game that's supposed to be this vast and this large, it just doesn't make a whole lot of sense to limit the player that much. And instead what it does is it just inconveniences us, which then makes the game less enjoyable as a result of it. Like I was telling you today, I went and I did this like special mission that I found, this like secret mission or whatever. And when I found it, I had to travel like 9 star systems away. So I sat there for a good 10, 15 minutes traveling from system to system to system to system to system. All it was is just load screen, load screen, load screen, load screen, which brings me to the one thing that is probably the most annoying thing in this entire game. It's just a sea of load screens. It's just a sea of load screens. Go to the planet, load into the planet. Exit your ship, load into a load screen. Leave your ship, go into a building, load screen. Go from that into somebody's office, load screen. Now you need to leave, load screen. Good Lord, it's just load screen the game. Like there's like little bits of combat, little bits of dialogue, a whole lot of load screens. And it's just, Jesus, like, and this all goes back to the idea that they've boxed in the player so much that we can't really explore. And the reason, and you feel that a lot more because of the fact that there's so many load screens. If there weren't as many load screens, think about playing games like Fallout and Skyrim. Mm-hmm. How many load screens were in those games? There were some for dungeons and stuff like that, but for the most part, you just walk into a city and walk into a building. You know what I mean? Like it's seamless that you walk into a castle or whatever it was like that, and it just feels so much more narrow when there's so many load screens.
Yeah, So other than space, my other one is encumbrance. Okay, so we just got discussing how this game's about fast travel and not about exploration. Now they're like, okay, you can't fast travel because you're encumbered. You can't fast travel to your ship because you're encumbered. Your punishment is I'm going to time gate you to walk all the way back to your ship. You know what I mean? It's silly. It just makes no sense to me. And that there's no indication that I'm going to be encumbered or not. Like I don't have any on-screen cue that I'm encumbered. I don't slow down unless I start sprinting. Like you're going to use up more oxygen. Oh, okay, cool.
Yeah, no, actually, now that I think about it, you're right. There is nothing that pops up. Like, there's I think what you actually have to do is you have to, like, you're going to have to mod the game to just give yourself more carry weight or something because it's bad. And the thing is, like, I thought there would be better opportunities for us to increase it. And I took the, passive to be able to get it. But, again, it's just, like, now you need to level up that passive. And now you need to level up that passive. And it's just like, man. And in a game that has so much loot, and you also have a lot of things to spend stuff on, especially if you're trying to upgrade your ship and stuff like that. Like there's a lot of stuff to spend things on, so you're always trying to pick up as much stuff as you possibly can and then sell that stuff as quickly as you possibly can. And can you throw stuff over to your companion?
I don't know. I haven't tried yet.
Because remember the old games also, I haven't tried that either yet. I'm sure there probably is a thing to be able to do that. I think if you talk to the NPC, it asks like, hey, let's switch gear. So you probably can offload a bunch of stuff onto them. So yeah, Tom says you can. Okay, I just want to make sure. I hadn't tried it yet, so I figured because you've been able to do that in all the other ones with your companions as well. So which actually just brings to like inventory management in general. Like I just don't like their UI.
Yeah,
I don't like the UI.
I don't either. It's simple, but I don't feel like okay. So on console, it probably feels pretty good. I'm not gonna lie to you. The UI looks like it would feel good for a controller. Playing it on a keyboard and mouse does not feel very intuitive. As simple as it is, it's not very intuitive. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It just doesn't feel. It just doesn't feel like. I don't know. Like it's like I was trying to find out how to put ship into my stuff into my ship cargo, right? And then I was like, okay, so I'm looking at my ship trying to find my cargo, and I didn't see a deal for it. Then I was like, okay, so then you have to go into the menu, go into your ship, and then transfer the stuff over. This game's just lacking a lot of quality of life stuff. And I'm pretty sure mods will probably fix most of it. Did you see they already modded? Someone's already made a mod for DLSS to work.
Did they really?
Yeah.
Fucking legends.
Yep.
Fucking legends. Wow. That is great to hear.
What's that? I don't know why it's escaping me. I'm trying to look it up. What's the Obsidian space game that they just did?
Oh, Outer Worlds.
Outer Worlds. Okay. So
I'm just gonna put some of my gameplay up here on the screen for you guys.
So Outer Worlds. That's a game that I would do a 1-to-1 comparison against Starfield with. Is the story better in Outer Worlds? Maybe. Everything else, though, like gunplay. Oh my god, this is ridiculous.
I'm sorry.
That's so distracting.
I know.
So distracting.
So it just works, guys. It just works. I think I got I think I have an actual video here. There we go. I'll play actual gameplay. Oh no, that's the wrong. Same thing. Sorry. Let me get this queued up the way. Sorry. I didn't mean to show that to you guys twice.
I saw a journalist was talking about how we as consumers with Bethesda have just come to accept the bugs as
the state of their games. Yeah,
just as like the humor of it. Oh, it's the quirks of it and all that kind of stuff. And I get some of it. It is, but come on, man. See, okay, now look. That ship, that planet and the stars behind it is just a sticker. You can't get any closer or further away from it at that point.
Yeah, I know.
Like like what is the point of even going to space? You know what another thing is you're traveling to a planet. Here's what's great. You're traveling. Okay, you get into your ship. No, it just doesn't make sense though. It's like it doesn't respect my time. You get in a ship and do like you just do a grav jump. It pulls you in front of the planet. Then you have to stop to be inspected, and then you can teleport.
Right now, that's exactly what's happening. Now there's somebody trying to contact my ship.
What is that? It doesn't make sense. Why?
Hold on, you're peaking super hard. You don't have noise cancellation and compression. You can't scream like that, dude.
It is such a waste of time. Like, respect our time.
Yeah.
Like this, it's not immersive.
It's one it's one of those things, and this is something that I brought up, where like there's a difference between when you're designing something and you're thinking about, man, this is really going to be like something super immersive. Like, oh, you have to get scanned when you come into a universe or into an orbit, or you have to do, whatever it might be. Like things like that. Or sometimes there'll be an NPC that'll pop out at you. Well, the problem is that all that's doing is slowing down the player's progression from them trying to go do something that they want to do. So you have to think about how you make that actually palatable and not something that's going to ruin their overall experience. And like what you just said right there, this is something that just inconveniences us. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I get like flying through an asteroid field. That was cool. They need more stuff like that. But the rest of it, man, it literally it's time gating.
I thought you could fly down to the atmosphere. No, you're seeing it right now. This is what it looks like. You teleport you teleport to the ground. You teleport to the ground and then you leave it. And then after this, I'll teleport into a dungeon and then I'll go and teleport into something else. And then there you go. So yeah, it is really limiting in a lot of ways. I'm trying to think. There's a couple other things that I didn't really vibe with that much. I have to check. I put some notes to the side to make sure that I had some points to be able to talk about. I should pull that stuff up. Take that and I'll put that over there. There we go. There we go. Little technical thing here.
And how is there not a button to just switch weapons instead of having to pull up the wheel and having to set up your own wheel?
What are you talking about?
Like, is there? Did I miss it? Is there a button to push to just switch weapons?
Yeah, it's your numbers on your. Are you using keyboard mouse?
Yeah, keyboard mouse. I pushed.
If you look at the radial, radial that you can pull up, right? Yeah. Once you pull up the radial, all of those have a number associated with them. So
okay,
you just
so
put
after
the weapons
you make
on
the radial, you have to make the radial first, and then it becomes optional to be able to switch.
Right, because you haven't equipped those weapons. You can't have more than one weapon equipped at a time. I'm pretty sure that's how most of these games have always been.
No.
This is your first one playing on PC, though.
Maybe.
You haven't played Skyrim or Fallout on PC?
Yeah, I have.
Have you?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
And
I don't know.
I could use my scroll, my wheel scroll to.
Yeah, but you still had to equip those. It's not just going to randomly go through everything in your inventory.
No, I understand you equip them to the radial. I just didn't know that there was a button. I was actually I was tabbing into the radial to switch weapons.
Oh, yeah. I do that sometimes because it's a little bit easier. Because sometimes I just forget about what weapons I have equipped to what part of the radial. But yeah, no, you can do that. Let's see here. Yeah, so like a lot of my issues with the UI is just things aren't just really that clear. I get over encumbered so easily, and it's so easy for me to like lose track of what I actually pick up and what I don't pick up. And then also it's such a hassle to be able to take things back to my ship in the first place, because once you're over encumbered, you can't just go right. You can't fast travel back to your ship. You can't fast travel at all because you're over encumbered. And man, that sucks. Cause like I'll find like ship parts, which is great to have. You know what I mean?
Weigh a lot.
But they weigh 10 pounds a piece. So it's like, man, I'd really like to take these back to the ship, but I don't have enough room because I'm going to have to drop the clothes I'm literally wearing right now to carry this stuff if I want to go back and make some money. I think a lot of this, and I hate to say it, but like Bethesda games are just so reliant on modders.
They are.
To make their games more fun and feel better. Like the base game has great tools, right? Mm-hmm. But outside of that, that's where it kind of falls off. That's why they really lean on the modders and stuff like that to get these games live.
Reading an article today that they actually hired one of the community's big modders to work on the game.
Really?
Yeah.
I always actually like to hear stuff like that.
Yeah.
I always like hearing stuff like that because at least that means you're dialed in somewhat. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I just can't. I just like playing it and I'm gonna. This is the last time I'm gonna say it. I don't think this is a bad game. I don't.
No. Oh, not even close. Are you kidding me?
Like I said, yeah, it's not even close to a bad game. It's just like I think they could have done more. And that sounds weird. That's such an elitist thing to say. You know, like a gamer. They didn't give me what I wanted, so I'm upset. It's just I just feel like they, for taking 25 years on. Well, actually, I take that back. Since 2013 is when they said that they've been working on this game. I feel like maybe the systems they chose in 2013 aren't the systems that they probably should have used in 2023. That's all I'm saying. Like they could have made it feel a little bit fresher for me. And like I said, it just feels I don't want to sit there and knock like individual like game gunplay and all that stuff. I didn't expect Destiny. You know what I mean? I'm not expecting Destiny level of gunplay, but it was like I said, it's serviceable. So
yeah, no, I think overall like the game controls relatively well.
How do you feel about the head movement?
Except for ships.
Was the head movement really good?
Shut up. Ships control like shit, to be honest.
Oh, but with the mouse?
Maybe that's just because with mouse and keyboard. Yeah. I bet it feels a lot better on controller.
Yeah, it probably does because your controller will automatically go back to 0 point. Or if you leave your mouse a little bit over to the left or the right, you're gonna be sitting there.
Yeah, Yeah, yeah. And it's also probably because I have like a base version of a ship as well. So it's like I don't even want to fight anybody if I get into like space combat because I just get fried.
Yeah.
Because I always feel like they're
I'm
just
actually pretty
outside. They're just outside of my vision. They're just over here, and I just can't see them, and they just kind of roll around me. You know what I mean?
That's my favorite part of it. That's why I like that game Chorus, which is also on Game Pass. If y'all want to check out a game about flying, that's actually a really cool game.
What is that?
It's called Chorus. It's a space game. It's actually got a really cool story too. But yeah, so when they're up like that, Ian, you just have to slow down and then turn towards them. That's how you turn sharper.
Slow your ship. Yeah, I know.
Yep.
But the problem is then they boost around me. Well, I'm still trying to follow. or worse, I stop and guess what? There's 3 ships. So now I'm just getting lit up by the other 2. You know what I mean? So it's like anytime there's like multi-ship combat, it just feels terrible to do. It really feels bad when there's more than one ship that's attacking you. So, but I feel like that's something that's probably going to be alleviated by a few things. Specifically, just like me probably trying to use controller a little bit. Maybe when I drive the ship, I'll just use the controller. Yeah. And then obviously getting better ships too is probably going to alleviate that quite a lot as well. So, which I did just find a better ship, so I'm gonna fly around in that.
That's what. And I started my character off. I chose like pilot. That's what I chose because I was like, I'm gonna go explore the galaxy, and that's when I got tilted. That's when I got so tilted. I was like, I might as well just start over and just pick something completely different because there's no point in it. So. Maybe they'll do a DLC that is just space. You know what I mean? Like it's just more space. Actually doing stuff in space.
Maybe.
Like big,
chances are, if I had to guess, what's probably going to happen is that modders are going to make it where space travel is a little bit more free. That's probably the first thing that you're going to see. You're going to see people working to make space travel better.
Yeah.
There will be a mod probably titled Space Travel Better mod. Or Better Space mod, or something
Starfield
like that.
Citizen.
Yeah, or No Man's Sky, No Man's Sky mod, whatever it is. Something that just makes it a little bit more interesting to travel through space, because that is the one thing that I think was probably what felt the worst, and that honestly makes the game worse as a result, is that it's far too limiting and you're far too boxed in. If it wasn't for that, I feel like I would enjoy the game a lot more. But that's not to say that I'm not enjoying the game. It's just I don't think the game I just don't think it lives up to the expectations that a lot of people put on it. And my whole thing is that like I don't even really understand. I do and I don't. I understand why people put the expectations on Bethesda to make a generational RPG, because they're one of the grandfathers of RPG games in the eyes of a lot of gamers. Mm-hmm. I mean, even Larion themselves had put out a post saying that they couldn't wait for the game to come out because they feel like they're standing on the shoulders of giants. You know what I mean? Like this is one of the this is a game series that even we have derived some inspiration from in one way, shape, or form. I think a lot of people, and there's even people in chat that have been triggered about a bunch of stuff, but you at one point have enjoyed a Bethesda game at least once.
Yep.
Most people have. I'm not saying everybody has. There could be one or two people that are like, I have never played a Bethesda game, and that's fine. And to that, I mean, it is what it is. But there are core things that exist within Bethesda games that people have always enjoyed, and those core things are still here. Mm-hmm. Have they lived up to the expectation that they probably should have put a game out to be? Absolutely. Absolutely. I think that they way under hit the mark on what they should have done here, especially with the amount of time that they had to make the game. There's a lot of things that they could have done that could have made this game, in my opinion, which would have been like at least a 9 out of 10. But to me, it's just an average. Like it's like a 7. It's just an average space sim.
It's slightly above average. That's what it is. It's slightly above
it's above average. Yeah, okay. I'll give you
7 is a slightly above average.
7.5.
Oh, okay. I'm not doing this with you.
I give it
I'm 100% not doing this with you.
I actually don't really put number ratings on games. I'm just bullshitting. But that's one of the things that like that tripped me out is that there's a lot of people, a lot of Bethesda fans. I'm gonna say it like that. There's a lot of Bethesda fans and Xbox fans that are up in arms over the fact that IGN, Game Informer, GameSpot. I also believe that PC Gamer also gave it a 7 or 75.
Yep.
There's a lot of them up in arms. Oh, this is media bias, and then you go and you read like what their pain points are, and you're like, this is completely valid. What are you talking about? Like, I won't argue with the fact that most people are probably going to find this game relatively mid.
Yep.
Yeah, right?
They are. Yeah. And, well, you know, Todd Howard and Pete Hines, they didn't do a great job of tempering expectations either. They used a lot of grand language when they talked about... Very.
And I actually will 100% agree. But like, I made a video where I was kind of talking about it, and the more I went back and looked at like some of the things that they've said, they absolutely did not give anyone any reason to think anything otherwise of how large this game was going to be with its space travel and stuff like that.
Yeah. And so like I said, when me and Ian talked privately, I felt cheated. I felt deceived. I felt bad. Like, I felt bad. And then that's when I started making, it's unfair. And I'm going to start this. It is unfair to compare this game to Baldur's Gate. It really is. That would be like trying to compare, your child drawing a picture with crayons to the Mona Lisa. It's just not fair, right? It's a bad fight. But they're not the same. Apples and oranges.
Yeah.
But like, as soon as I clicked over, like, I was talking to the NPC. I call her Robot Jennifer Lawrence. She's the main lady from the with the leather jacket that follows you around. Like, British, angry Jennifer Lawrence, that chick.
Yeah.
And then I got off the game. I clicked on Baldur's Gate, and I was into a conversation with an NPC, and just the face, the skin, the textures, all this stuff, the delivery, it was just superior. So that's when I realized I can't.
I did that the other night, man. I did that the other night.
I can't compare these two games because they are two different. They're just too different. They're two different.
Yeah, I did that the other night, man. I was playing Starfield, and I was talking to a few different NPCs, and then the game was giving me some issues, and I'm like, I'm over it, and I shut the game down, and I went back to playing Baldur's Gate 3, and I loaded it up, and immediately started a conversation with Shadowheart, and I'm sitting there, and I'm like, this is so far above and beyond what we normally get from dialogue and story delivery from other games that it's actually unfair. It's actually unfair to anybody to try to be compared to it. But regardless, we are the customer, and this is what we are going to compare games to from now on. Even though the industry doesn't want us to, because they don't think that they can reach the standard in which Baldur's Gate 3 delivered, but they delivered on something that everybody else needs to fucking figure out. You need to figure it out. What's the magic sauce, man? Oh, it's actually caring about your workers and making sure that, you know, they have creative freedom and just having fun making a video game. That's crazy. Could you imagine doing? Wow, wacky. Come on, dude. What do you expect? So, yeah, there's definitely some things that, like, it's tough. It's tough for Starfield. Like, even though it rated pretty well, Open Critic right now, it's a critic average of like 88. Critics recommend 94%. Like, it's a solid game.
It's a solid game.
But it's not a game that changes anything.
Nope, it is not a generational game.
Whereas Baldur's Gate 3 did. Mm-hmm. It genuinely did.
Yep. It's like back when I was just saying you have to compare it to other Bethesda games. This isn't Skyrim. People aren't going to hold on to this game as long as they did with Skyrim. They're just not. I just don't see it that way. I don't think it's going to. I don't know.
I think you're underestimating. I think you're underestimating Space Sim Andes.
Tell me where the Space Sim is.
That's what I'm saying. They'll make it.
Okay.
They've literally remade Sky. Have you not seen what is it?
It's Oblivion. I saw the Oblivion in Unreal.
The Oblivion mod. It's Skyrim, or Oblivion in Skyrim's mod.
Yeah.
with all of with Morrowind attached to it and a few other things, and it looks gorgeous. These guys have worked so hard making this, bringing this mod to life. If you guys haven't watched it, there's a video that you guys can watch. It actually shows like all the things that these guys have worked on and stuff. It's so cool to see, you know, what the modding community has been able to do. That's obviously also what I'm really, really hoping to see for Baldur's Gate 3, by the way.
Yeah.
I'm hoping, I think that due to the mass popularity of Baldur's Gate 3 and just how many people that it's drawn in, I do think it's going to draw a much larger modding community than Divinity ever saw.
It's got Larion actually talking and considering doing DLCs.
Dude, did you guys see? Oh my god. Oh my god. So okay, we're moving on to Baldur's Gate 3 now.
Hold on. I want to address something for Andreas. Yeah, I haven't finished the story in Starfield.
No.
I plan on it. I'm not saying, like I said, this game isn't a bad game. We're just airing whatever grievances and likes that we have. For the game.
We talked about the things that we liked about the game. We talked about the things we didn't like about it. I don't have any final verdict on the game until I've completed it, and it's gonna take a while. It's gonna take a while for me to beat the game.
Yep.
You know, I've brought this up in videos and stuff like that. I work full time, so I maybe got 2 or 3 hours a night after work for me to be able to play something. You know what I mean? So I don't get a whole lot of time to sink in, other than sometimes on the weekends. So it's gonna take a while to be able to really dive into the game and get into everything and really figure out, you know, what makes it tick and what I like, what I don't like, and everything like that. These are just surface level impressions.
Yeah. Okay, Baldur's Gate.
Okay, so did you see that Larion actually reached out to one of the modders, because one of the level 20 mod, the one that allows you to be able to go to level 20, but it has like restrictions on, you know, you can't take a class to level 20. You can take, you know, multiple classes, and you can multi-class up to 20, basically.
Up to 20, yeah.
Yeah. There was a conflict with some of the game files. They reached out to the modder, and then they fixed the issue in the game so that the mod would work.
That's awesome.
Larion took time out of their schedule to fix something so that mods would work for modders. It's fucking legendary. It's so nice, dude. It's so nice.
Not only that, they put out patch 1, fixed a lot of stuff, and then a week later fired off patch 2, which fixed a ton of stuff and added fixed a lot of controller support stuff in lieu of the PS5 release. That in itself should let you know they care about this game. Like they're on it. So
yeah,
it's pretty awesome.
No, it's just like some of the stuff they do. I'm reading through some of their stuff, and I'm like sitting there. That's why, like, I was airing some grievances last night at dinner, because I'm like, every once in a while, like, I'll see some like shitty comments come through on the YouTube videos, which, by the way, my last video is actually now, in case you guys didn't know, my highest performing video of all time. It's over 300,000 views. That is fucking wild. And I've said this to you guys before. If it wasn't for you guys watching the videos, they don't go anywhere. If the subs don't watch the video, it dies. Simple as that. So, why are you making scary faces?
I'm playing with the lighting and
I see
watch
that.
this. Watch.
Don't Starfield NPC me, okay?
Did you see Digital Foundry? Did you watch Digital Foundry's technical review?
No, I'll have to watch it.
And they just cut together all the NPCs that they saw. There's like this there's an Asian one, and he's like just like and his eyes are just like rolled back in the back of his head. So good. It's like drinking a carton of milk.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's pretty good.
But I've seen a lot of like salty comments on a couple of the last videos, because, you know, the more you know, I mean, the more people that you bring in, the more crazy folk you're also going to see as a result of it, right?
Yeah, you are.
But there is like there's a lot of people that are trying to make it out to be that there's a much larger like, people have a much larger issue with like content that was removed from the game, and it wasn't removed like because they didn't want us to have it. It was removed because either A, it didn't make sense, B, it wasn't fun, or C, it just didn't work. Simple as that. And they even approach that, and they give reasons why. Hey, this is why we didn't do this. We see a lot of people asking about this. We're just telling you this is the reason why. And to be honest with you, it was data mined. They don't need to respond to that. they could have been completely silent and that would have been fine and nobody would have any problem with that. But then they go ahead and they actually respond to the player and tell them, hey, this is the reason why these specific things that you guys keep talking about aren't there. But now we realize after talking to you that it seems like a lot of you guys actually want to see some of this stuff. So we're going to work to see what we can do in extending some of those kind of things. You know what I mean? And giving closure to certain stories that people people aren't necessarily happy with. But then also at the same time, I'm still seeing people like absolutely lose their fucking mind over that stuff still, even though Larion said that they're going to work to improve it anyway. And they're like, yeah, but they did it. And it's like, well, what do you want? Realistically, well, they shouldn't have removed it in the first place. Well, then go get a fucking job at Larion.
Yeah.
You have to, at certain points, we have to also, like, we can shit on game companies all the time. There's so many opportunities for us to do that. But there's also certain times that we have to respect creative decisions in the first place. We can realize that, yes, there's a ton of AAA companies that are out there that are making decisions based on monetization because they want to flip and sell stuff to us later. But when we're looking at a company like Larion who's not doing that it literally was removed because of creative decisions, why are you trying to dogpile or attack them on something that's just not necessary to do so? Like, I feel like it's just like now, like, gamers are so riled up that we're even biting at the people that are like actually doing good for us.
Yeah.
And I even saw something. I want you to comment on this. I even saw somebody say something where like the whole discussion around Larion and the last patch and like how great of a job Larion has done and how much people are loving the game. And somebody's like, we shouldn't applaud this. This should be the standard. This should be what we expect to get.
It's positive reinforcement, Ian.
Yeah.
You should applaud them for it. It's positive reinforcement. Thank you for actually, like the Golden Girls say, thank you for being a friend. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, thank you for servicing the game that I purchased from you. I appreciate it. I think they should be lauded for it. But I do understand that the sentiment that, hey, this is how it should be. You don't have to say anything to them. No, let them know. I'm gonna tell you right now, these game developers, they do like praise. They do. Anybody who's a creative loves a little pat on the head, loves a little tummy rub. So I promise you, yeah, if the company does you right, you should let them know that they do you right, because more likely, just like everybody else, everybody's human. You're gonna hear more negative than you ever gonna hear positive in your life. Period. People are gonna tell you more negative shit about what you do than more positive. It's just the way human nature is. So
yeah,
pats on the head.
So it's one of those things where you have folks that, if you applaud them for the things that we enjoy, they're going to put more of that stuff in there. Because if you don't believe that there aren't companies that are looking at like the whole situation with like how players are talking about Larion, how players are talking about From Software, which by the way I have a video on this coming up soon, but all of a sudden you start looking and go like, wow, these people are just going to buy games from these companies regardless because they have set a quality mark and they've set a standard when it comes to like how to approach a community, how to discuss things with a community, and how to make games better as a result of actually talking to the customer and knowing what they want. You know what I mean? And there's going to be, and it may not be the upper echelon. It may not be your Blizzard or your EA or your Ubisoft or whoever.
It ain't going to be them.
It's not going to be them. It's not going to be them that are going to learn from these kind of things. However, there's going to be others, AA, single A, those guys that are going to look at that and go, this is the company that we need to model ourselves after. This is the company that we need to meet the standard of. And then as a result, we get more options of great games to play in the future. It's not going to come from those companies. And to be honest, like I made a video before, I don't see success in the future of Activision Blizzard. I don't see success in the future of EA outside of their outside of their sports. I mean, think about it.
Your Madden FIFAs, yeah.
What happens to EA if they lose licensing to the
Star
NFL
Wars.
and FIFA?
Yeah.
What happens to them?
Well, they already did. They already did. The FIFA thing's gone. NFL would kill them.
NFL would destroy them.
But they're doing. But they're don't get me wrong. Soccer's huge around the world. It really is. But the FIFA thing's already gone. They're calling it something different. They didn't. FIFA wanted too much money to be licensed. But the NFL deal. Do you remember when NFL 2K came out? When the NFL actually let somebody else, and that game was far superior.
It was good. I remember. Everybody loved it.
And they sold it for fucking $20 cheaper. And that's what really pissed EA off. Yeah, that game was legit the best. There are people that still play that on PC right now to this day, and they just update the rosters.
Yeah, why wouldn't you?
It's a good game.
If it's a more enjoyable experience, why wouldn't you want to play that? Especially if you don't have to spend as much money to do it in the first place. But like that's the point though, is that it's great. The reason why we congratulate, the reason why we lift up these companies that make choices that are great for the consumer, that are friendly to us, is because of the fact that the more we do that, the more other companies will follow. And that's the best part. Like that's the whole reason. Like I don't understand why people keep making videos like this talking about how great Larion is. Well, because we should, to be honest. Because the more we talk about it, the more other people will realize that they need to live up to that standard, because they did set a standard. And it wasn't just for how great the game is. And yes, the game is going to have, any fucking game is going to have some kind of bugs or performance issues. It's just going to. And the reason why it's going to have that is that anytime we're talking about something that is a multi-platform release, if that's Xbox, PlayStation, and PC, there is a ton of shit you're going to run into. Just because of the fact there's so many different configurations of consoles, not consoles, but different configurations of PCs and stuff like that, that, yeah, you're going to run into some issues, especially for performance. Bugs, I mean, how many people can you have test a game? So, like, there's a limit to that, and we understand that. At least I do. I don't want to play. I don't want to say we, because I think I'm sure there's some people that probably hold the stance that there shouldn't be any bugs whatsoever in the game, and I agree up to a point, because in some way, shape, or form, you're gonna find some weird shit just because we're fucking gamers. We play games in ways that the people that made it don't think we're gonna do. We're looking for areas to slip outside of the map. We're looking, like, we're doing things and interacting with the game in ways that you can't necessarily program for, just because, well, every single person is unique and we play games all completely differently. The way that I play Baldur's Gate is probably different than a lot of other people play it. The way, somebody will play Starfield is going to be different than how somebody else is going to play it. And especially when we're talking about games, especially a game like Baldur's Gate, where it has this, like, insane level of density of, like, different dialogue lines that will lead down different quest paths, or whether or not it'll make people, like, leave your plan or leave your party or whatever like that. Like, there's a ton of different things that are gonna cause the game to do some kind of wacky stuff. Like, did you talk to the squirrel in the outside of near the Hag's hut?
The Hag's hut?
Yeah. See, there you go. How many people here talk to the squirrel near the Hag's hut? You know what I mean? Like, some people are going to be, or as a frog. Thank you. It was a frog. Thank you. Yeah. So it's like, it's some of those things, like, not everybody's going to interact with every single thing in the world. So it gets really difficult to be able to parse that out, especially when you're paying studios to be able to do it too, because you don't know how accurate their data is going to be as well. Mm-hmm. I can't even imagine how fucking expensive it has to be with some of these games for how many hours you can play them. When you have people that are still in Act 1 for, like, up to 100 hours, how expensive is that going to be for you to be able to, especially as an independent company, being able to outsource that and have another company actually QA that? You know what I mean?
And there's other developing companies like your Activision Blizzards, your CEOs that are looking at Baldur's Gate and seeing how well it's doing, and then thinking how stupid Larion is because they don't have any microtransactions. Think about it. I've got 500 hours now. I think I'm up to 500 hours in Baldur's all I spent was what I paid for the early access. That's it. And so, like, they're just sitting there going, "Oh, these guys are so stupid. They could be making billions right now, bruh." But man,
could you imagine? Could you imagine being the asshole sitting there like, man, if I was Larion, I would have made it where you could buy sexy outfits.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah.
Like, come on, man. Like, come on. Why you guys? Oh man. That's actually really funny. I saw a mod that's like a handbasket mod. It has like all these different outfits so you can dress your characters in Baldur's Gate. And then I saw it had the tag the safe for work version. And I'm like, you degenerates. Because that means that there's not a safe for work version. And I'm like, good Lord. Oh man, I love this game community. I wouldn't expect anything less. Oh man.
I was going through their patch notes, and PlayStation 5 got to get their release. What you said, yesterday or Friday? I think it was Friday.
Yesterday, yeah.
Yesterday, the early access for theirs. So while I was looking through that, I saw, I didn't put it in the show notes, but I saw that Sven actually commented on when an Xbox version would be coming, and it's between September and November. Between that time frame, so which I think is a lot faster than I thought. I thought it was going to be closer in December, but I think they understand they need to strike while the iron's pretty hot. You know what I mean? And so that's not.
Well,
that's good news for Xbox owners. I think that's really
imagine
good news for Xbox owners.
If I was Larion, I would be so hot over the fact that I've had to delay the release of my game to suit your parody. Knowing how many more copies I could have sold as a result of being able to release my game on your console on time. Not to mention pre-orders as well, right? Because no one's been able to pre-order it because they never actually could do a official launch announcement for the Xbox. So there's never been even an option to even pre-order the game for the Xbox in the first place. Like, I would be so infuriated. I would be even more infuriated when you put out a fucking announcement and it makes it sound like it was our fault.
Yeah.
I cannot believe Xbox comes out, Phil Spencer comes out with an announcement to say, oh, our partners need to work harder and we need to work harder with our partners. Shut the fuck up. I'm sorry. Like, I was so disgusted by that. I used to be relatively high on Xbox, and I've said it before. Like, I think Game Pass at its core is a really cool idea. It makes games more available to people that may necessarily not have enough money to buy very many games a year. Yeah. So at its core, it's a really cool idea. And I think, and for the most part, I think that's relatively consumer friendly. Outside of the fact it's starting to get us further and further away from being able to, like, historically keep games, like, have just digital forms of games.
Yeah.
Which I don't like that part of it. And it also fucks with ownership and shit like that, obviously.
Yeah.
But at its core, like, the idea of being able to make games more available to people that may not be able to afford more than 1 or 2 games a year sounds sick. That sounds great. I love that idea.
It's great for families.
Right. And for the most part, I've also been, usually Xbox has usually been on the side of the consumer, or at least their consumers. But when you come out with a line like that, where you're saying like, oh, our partners need to work harder and be more communicative, and we need to work close.
What they
we need
spend
to
their time on.
That's
what he said.
Yeah, I wonder how many Sony engineers they had to send over to Larion to help them with split screen for the PlayStation 5. Yeah. I wonder how many Xbox engineers they had to send over there to help them with the Xbox Series X. But probably nothing. Yeah, probably 0. Yeah. So it's one of those things where it's like, I don't know how much this hurts Larion, especially now that the Xbox Series S1 isn't going to get split screen. And I'm gonna say it right here, and I would love if you guys want to fire back on me, you can fire back on me. There was a ton of people that were saying like, oh, it doesn't matter, split screen doesn't matter, nobody plays split screen anymore. And I think that is bullshit.
Yeah,
I think it's bullshit because I don't think we as the customer need to be limited on what features we can have in games because it's becoming too difficult for developers to be able to put it in their games. When really I think they're only cost cutting. That's the only reason why they don't put split screen is because they're cost cutting. And then also that will leverage a better position for households to buy more than one copy of a game. Right? Mm-hmm. Because if you don't have split screen, well, you need to have a second copy.
Yep.
Right?
Yep.
And then on top of that, the thing is that I personally also believe that I think it's BS that people think that nobody plays split screen anymore. I think there's tons of people that do. Look back at all the tweets and stuff like that and how happy people were that Diablo 4 was getting split screen.
Yeah. I mean it's insane. There's too many families with too many kids. Not every family can afford 2 consoles. 2 copies of games, that type of stuff. It's just that's crazy. Yeah, it's super crazy.
Koa in chat right now says I would buy an Xbox Series S for couch co-op as a cheap variant to my PC, but yeah, now you're not even gonna get that because you can't play couch co-op on it. So, rip. That's the whole reason I bought. Actually, ironically, why I bought an Xbox.
Bring it later.
I have a PC. I have no need for an Xbox at all. I have no need for an Xbox at all. I have an Xbox Series S specifically to play co-op games on the couch and to use as a media player as well. That's what it's there for. And there you go. Ding brings it up, and this is what I said. This is when
I got 5 kids.
I got into a heated conversation over the split screen thing, and I'm like, do we just all of a sudden imagine now that families don't exist?
Yeah.
There's no such thing as kids. Kids aren't real.
Well,
kids are a figment of your imagination.
It's just like the point that where people get into like you're so you get the blinders on for your own life that you think everybody else's life is just like yours.
It's super hyperbolic. It's their situation, magnitude, and you need to live to what my view of the world actually is. So are we? Yeah. So what's the alternative? What's the alternative to co-op? Am I to believe that every household that has 5 kids owns 5 Xboxes?
No,
I don't fucking think so. Because if you have 5 kids, you're broke.
Yeah.
Yeah. Come on.
If you got 5 kids, you're one away from a basketball team. So.
Yeah. Come on, dude. What are you talking about? So it's just bad, weird takes, people coming to the defense of Xbox over it, and it's just really weird. And it's really sad to see that a video game console is something that's out there and it's limiting what it's actually
scope.
Here's the thing. We don't even know how far this is limiting the scope for other games either. We don't know what other games out there are being limited by the Xbox Series S today. That are multi-platform or for PC. And you brought it up. You thought Starfield is an example of a game that was limited in scope specifically to the Series S.
And you said it was conjecture, which I'll agree because we don't have any hard fact evidence.
Go ahead. Put your tinfoil hat on. I'm ready to hear it.
Where there's smoke, there's a motherfucking fire. So
I'm ready to hear it. Go ahead. Let it out.
Okay. So
let it out, brother. Let it out.
Sweet. So the tile deal for the Starfield, I think solely is because the performance of running at 30 frames per second, even on the X, you have the tiles, even on the X, all your loading screens, even on the X, is all because the Series S has 4 gigabytes of RAM. It has 4 gigabytes of RAM. Okay, 4 gigabytes of RAM. Yeah. Games in the let's go with the late teens, started requiring 16 gigabytes of RAM. The late teens. And here we are with a console that has 4 gigabytes of RAM, 2 gigabytes when it's actually running something.
Yep.
So, I think that they completely changed their scope and cut stuff down. So on the tiles deal, let's say you have a tile here on a planet, you landed there, and there's a mountain over here. Well, you land on the tile right next to it, guess what? It's not there. That mountain, because they're not linked together. None of it. It's not linked together. It's all just made up. And if that doesn't break down exploration continuity, I don't know what does. But yeah, the Series S is it's running gaming. They're taking my tinfoil hat off.
See, yeah. I don't know. I wouldn't probably go as far as the Series S has 10 gigs of RAM, is what Kevin says. Xbox Series S has 16.
Okay. It goes on to 4 when it's running games.
Yeah. No, you have to remember it has to actually run the OS. Yeah, you can't forget about the OS. You can say that that's just like my computer. My computer has 64 gigs of RAM, but it has to run the OS. So obviously that's gonna take a chunk out of the running RAM currently that's on there. ZC, kids should not play Baldur's Gate 3 though. No, kids definitely probably shouldn't play Baldur's Gate 3. Well, I mean, you can turn off.
You kidding me?
Nudity and blood.
They've got phones. Kids have phones, people. Be a better parent. Just turn the stuff off. Be a better parent.
Close their eyes. close your
earmuffs.
Earmuffs, everybody. Earmuffs. So yeah, you can turn off a bunch of settings and stuff like that to be able to make the game more palatable if you want to have kids play it. Though there are going to be, there's bad language and things like that.
There's
a lot of that already existing in a lot of the games that people are allowing kids to play nowadays anyway. So that, and to be honest with you, I don't think like a lot of young kids are really going to be into Baldur's Gate anyway.
No, it's
too slow.
It's too slow.
Yeah, it's too slow. It's too slow for young kids. Maybe when they get older, they can play it. Maybe when they get older. There was actually Love brings up something that's really interesting. They say probably Halo Infinite was limited.
It was. I made this comment to Ian. I said when I started up Starfield, and I'm not saying it's a bad game. I'm not saying it. When I started it up and I started playing it, it felt like it was as hollow and shallow as Halo Infinite did. Of that, I'm not saying they're the same game. I mean, of a Halo experience felt very shallow. This experience for a Bethesda game felt very shallow right off the bat. So I'm 100% agreeance with that.
Yeah, I don't know. It's one of those things where like Starfield is a game that I'm just going to have to slow burn. I'm going to have to take more of it in. I think the more that I play, the more I'm going to like it because I do just like exploring. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. And even though that exploration is limited in scope, it still has a lot of things for you to go and do. So, I'll see.
Star Citizen.
Jesus Christ. Compare it to the game. Compared to the game that we're going to play when we're all 97, yeah, something like that, yeah. I don't know. I'm gonna see if the game grows on me a little bit more as I play it. I think that's just probably the better way for me to look at it. Like I said before, I think the most unfortunate thing for Starfield is that it had a better RPG released before it.
Yeah.
And I talked to our good buddy Fonz, and I was like, "Hey Fonz, have you played Baldur's Gate 3 yet?" And he said, "No, I'm waiting for it to come out on Xbox." And I'm like,
"That's fair."
He's gonna love Starfield.
Oh, he does. I talked to him. I talked to him 2 days ago. He's really digging it.
Yeah, of course.
And he had the same kind of hang up. He was a little disappointed about the space part of it too.
Yeah.
But he's super digging it, man. He's super into it.
Yeah. So it's one of those things where it's like maybe it'll grow on me. Maybe I'm gonna not like it. I don't know. I think I'm just gonna kind of give it time because I just don't want to have like a super reactionary take on the game and when I only have, less than 30 hours into it so far. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I do still want to talk about the things on the surface that I see and I didn't like about it. But this is also just like what I also want people that come and watch stuff on this channel to understand is that like I'm just not really want to take a very reactionary stance on stuff. Nor do I really want to talk about games that I don't have a lot of experience with in the first place. Yep. The only reason why I can talk a lot about Baldur's Gate is because I've played it through early access for 3 years. I already knew what we were in for. I knew we were in for an incredible game from an incredible company that was going to blow people's socks off. I already knew. And it was a sleeper thing. I knew that nobody... I knew that nobody knew anything about the game, really. And that the hype for the game was relatively low. And I'm like, man, this is going to be wild once people actually get their hands on this game and start getting to play it. And then it ended up happening. So, how much has Starfield consumed your brain compared to Baldur's Gate 3 when you're playing it? The world.
I say about the worms. They'll just drop it in there.
My god. Oh my god. So yeah. Something else I actually kind of want to ask you guys about. Chat. This goes out to you guys. I want to know what else are you guys looking forward to? Like, we just had two of the biggest RPGs. There's been like, really, if you count Zelda Breath of the or Tears of the Kingdom as an RPG, you can. There's been a lot of big, great RPGs everybody's been looking forward to that came out this year. What are you guys looking forward to next year? I've actually seen a lot of people talking about the Cyberpunk update.
Yeah, Drake is 100% after that.
Really?
100% ready for that, yeah. That one right there is not going to be on the last gen consoles, so it's not going to have some of those graphical limitations that it did originally.
Final Fantasy 14 expansion. Yeah, that's not going to be until I think winter of next year. Did you see that Final Fantasy 16 is getting 2 expansions?
Really?
Yeah, Final Fantasy 16 is going to get two DLC expansions and something else. I forgot what, and a free expansion as well.
I need to go back and
a PC version and a PC version too. So
I will get it on PC then.
Yeah, there's a PC release that's coming out. Dragon's Dogma 2. Why do I keep fucking forgetting about that?
Lords of the Fallen this
so
year.
Good.
I'm still looking forward to Lords of the Fallen.
I'm writing that one down. I keep forgetting about that. I need to follow up and really look into Dragon's Dogma. I think that looks really good. That's next year too, isn't it? Yeah, Space Marine 2. What is Space Marine 2?
That's the Warhammer one that looks like Gears of War.
Is that the Gears of War looking one? What's the there's one that's a CRPG. There's a Warhammer CRPG that I want to follow.
Oh, that's the Rogue Trader.
Rogue Trader? Okay.
Yep.
Okay, I'm going to write that one down too. I'm looking into everything you guys are telling me. This is how I farm you guys for content. Rogue Trader. Oh, Black Myth Wukong. Yeah. That's the like not Elden Ring. What am I thinking? Like, it's like Souls-like, right? Chinese company, I think, is the one making it. It's their first game, which looks really strong for a first game, by the way.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Black Myth Wukong. Yeah, that actually looked really good too. I remember watching the Gamescom trailer for it, and it actually looked really, really, really strong. Final Fantasy 16, Lords of the Fallen. Yeah, I've been following Lords of the Fallen a little bit. The only thing that I don't really like from the looks of Lords of the Fallen is it looks like the combat is very floaty.
Really? I thought it looked more Soulsy than it has in the
No. I mean, like, it's like Souls inspired, but it looks very floaty. FF7 Rebirth is definitely obviously one that I'm looking forward to. That one's a big one that's on the radar. That's for sure. I need to follow it more. Is that supposed to be early next year? I can't remember.
Yeah.
I thought it was this year for some reason.
You talking about Lords of the Fallen?
No, Final Fantasy VII Rebirth, the continuation of Final Fantasy VII Remake.
It's next year. Yeah.
Is it next year?
Yeah.
I hate the word dogma. It seems stupid. Sea of Stars. Part of me wants to try it. I might try Sea of Stars. I'm somewhat interested in it just because of the fact that I'm a big like old school AR or old school like JRPG fan. So, that's where I got my start. But yeah, I'm really
Stalker 2 is gonna. I don't know how that game's got delayed again, but
that's what Shillup said. Damn, why you gotta throw? Oh, dude, Golden Sun was so good. Don't even give me. Golden Sun was so good. I wish they continued that game. I really did. Do you know? Oh man, Grand Blue Fantasy. Grand Blue Fantasy Relink also looks like really good. That one looks like it's shaping up to be really solid. I'm actually really excited for that one. Have you guys seen that one? Have you seen that one, Mark?
Yeah, I did. They showed some at the Gamescom deal.
Yeah, I did see that there were some people talking about how they felt that Grand Blue Fantasy Relink had too many characters, were obviously too strong in comparison to the other ones. So it would make you like unlikely to want to use other characters in the party. So I hope that's something that they balance out. I think that was Eric's Gaming that I was watching that did that.
That's every game though, isn't it?
I guess. I don't know.
I mean, every game is like that.
Ooh, what games need sequels? If you had it your way. Ooh, Grandia. But Grandia 2, it'd be Grandia 2, 2. Yeah. Grandia 2, 2. Grandia 2 is probably my favorite JRPG of all time. I know a lot of people think it has like a really like cheesy storyline. I fucking loved the story. I loved the like mix of like action turn-based gameplay. That game was like really cool for that.
It's really good.
Perfect Dark. Perfect Dark's already getting a remake, isn't it?
Yes.
Yeah. Legend of Dragoon, don't even go there. Don't even go there. How does PlayStation own so many good IPs and they just don't make any use of them whatsoever? Like Legend of Dragoon would fucking slap. It would slap the face of like every 30-plus-year-old gamer out there. Actually, probably even younger. You get like 25 and up gamer up there. Everybody would go wild over, like, especially just because like the premise of the game and its universe, as well as like the abilities of like the people. Oh my god, dude, that would be so good. Well,
they're too busy reselling us The Last of Us. That's why. Instead of doing the new stuff.
Funny you say that, Tom. It's actually not Square that owns Legend of Dragoon. It's actually, I think it was Eidos or something like that. I know it's Sony owned. Sony owns the IP for Legend of Dragoon.
And Eidos,
and they renewed it recently, by the way.
And Eidos was owned by Embracer. As of a couple months ago.
Yeah. Yeah, Embracer. Embracer. Good. That play. Is Embracer just gonna like fall apart?
Yeah. If they can't get the loans, they are. And it's sad is there are some good studios under their umbrella. But yeah. Pretty. They're just gonna sell it off. So
yeah, I guess they can just sell off IPs and studios, right? And then you'll just see another major buying spree.
Yep.
But man, dude, they just keep Time Splitters. That'd be a really good one too, actually. I would actually really like to see that. Fallout CRPG with Larion. You will never see that, but I understand your pain. I wonder what other IPs could Larion get a hold of that would be really good to see them do. I would like to see. So no, it wouldn't even have to be a CRPG. So I think Divinity 1 and 2 were action RPGs. Do you know what I would really like to see Larion get a hold of and do an action RPG for?
Diablo.
Baldur's Gate Dark Alliance 3.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
Not to be confused with Dark Alliance, that shit Dungeons and Dragons owned fucking garbage game that they produced. That Wizards of the Coast property they produced.
Do you remember the Marvel Alliance games?
Marvel Alliance. Yes. Mm-hmm. Ultimate Alliance?
Yeah.
Yeah, the ARPG? Well, yeah, that shit was fire. Yeah, they were great.
Yeah, that would be cool for Larion to do. Something outside of fantasy. You know what I mean?
That would be, that'd be kind of interesting. That'd be kind of interesting. I think that they're too nerdy for that shit, though, to be honest. I think, like, you know, I feel like comic books are like
mainstream. They're mainstream now.
Surface level nerd.
Yeah.
You get down into, you know, Dungeons and Dragons, into the thick of it, and you're really getting in there, man. Neverwinter Nights 3. Yeah, that would be really cool too, actually.
A Vox Machina game would be kind of cool too.
Ooh, I like that. Man, I need to go back. I need to look at like a Dreamcast emulator for like a bunch of games that I would like to see again, because there's a lot of Dreamcast games that never came back that were fucking incredible. Do you guys remember Power Stone? Power Stone was so good. Dolphin.
Yeah.
You don't want to. What are you talking about?
I don't have one of those. No, they've got I've got a, what is it? I can't remember. I have to send it to you. Retro Arc. That's what it is. There you go.
Okay.
Find it.
See, Skies of Arcadia. Hell yeah. See, somebody gets it. Somebody knows what's up. There we go, Donnie.
The hard part's not finding the emulators. It's finding the games that aren't attached with cancer. So,
what do you mean?
Yeah, the ROMs. To play on emulators.
Like bad ROMs.
Oh, just suspect sites.
Oh, did you make a boo boo?
I did about a year ago, and remember when I had to reset my whole shit?
Oh, is that what it was for you?
Yeah.
Emulating? You dirty boy.
No,
You dirty boy.
what are you checking? No, I mean no.
Just make sure you don't say it's Nintendo.
You know what I'd like to see a sequel to, like Far Cry. Far Cry needs another sequel. That'd be pretty awesome.
Far Cry? The fuck is wrong with you?
Oh,
Far Cry? That's the one you want to go for?
Dude,
huh?
honestly, I'd like another Punch Out. To be honest with you, the last Punch Out was a long time ago, and I'd like another one.
Did they have one for was it the Wii?
The Wii, yeah. That
Oh,
also,
dude, Jet Set Radio. That was another one on.
They are remaking that right now.
On Dreamcast.
Yep.
Skies of Arcadia. We talked about that. Phantasy Star Online. Rest in peace.
Code Veronica.
Ooh. Shenmue.
Mm-hmm. They made a Shenmue 3 and it
Wasn't very good.
Wasn't very good.
Yeah, whatever happened to Crazy Taxi? That's the question of our lifetime.
Of our generation.
Our generation.
The Crazy Taxi.
Yeah. What happened to Quake, actually?
They have RTX, the Quake 2, and I thought that did I hear that they're going to remake it?
Are they?
I think. It's
All
gonna be
right.
the next. It's gonna be the next podcast.
Is it?
Yeah. Story.
Yeah. You better write that story up real quick, dude. I loved my Dreamcast. That thing was so good.
It was good.
And then everybody had to ruin it by going and buying a PlayStation.
Nobody would make games for it.
I guess it was actually really difficult to develop for, and the first PlayStation was really easy to develop for. It gave developers a lot more freedom in making whatever they wanted to do for it. Oh yeah, isn't Super Mario RPG getting or is that Paper Mario that's coming out?
I think it's Paper Mario.
Is it Paper Mario? Do you remember the Super Mario RPG? That was also really good. Man, Nintendo be slipping. I feel like they'll probably run around back to that eventually, but they're also looking at what they have initially right now, like for like what people are actually interested in playing. I don't really see Nintendo wanting to beat the drum of like old school nostalgia because they realize that most of their player base is much younger. It is Super Mario RPG getting a remake. That is sick. Okay, well then my Switch I'll blow off the dust on my Switch. I haven't used it. I haven't played my Switch at all since I played Tears of the Kingdom. Lost Viking sequel. That'd be kind of cool too. Yeah, I think my biggest ones, the ones that I want to see the most, is definitely Legend of the Dragoon, because that's one of my favorite RPGs of all time. Same goes for Do you know what's crazy to know? I went from Dreamcast to PlayStation 2. I can't hear you.
I went from Dreamcast to Xbox original.
How long did you play Dreamcast?
I think you are you're mistaken on when the Dreamcast came out.
When did it come out? 2000?
2000. Yeah, it was with the PlayStation 2, not the original PlayStation.
Was it?
Yeah, PlayStation 2 is what destroyed it.
I don't think you're right. I think you're actually wrong. I'm googling it right now. PlayStation 2 release date. Do I have? Oh my god! It came out in 2000. Dreamcast release date. 1998.
Okay.
So that's the reason why I didn't get a PlayStation. So I got an N64 instead of a PlayStation. That's what it was.
Yep, I had an N64. I went N64, Sega Dreamcast.
Oh no, I had an Atari Jaguar instead of a PlayStation.
Oh,
I wish I was fucking kidding. I'm not kidding. I'm pretty sure that's what I had.
So when I had the Dreamcast is about the same time that my first child was born. As a matter of fact, I bought it right before my first child was born, and then I just stopped playing games for a little bit, and then I got back into it with the Xbox. It was Halo. Halo brought me back. So.
No, I just want to know like the first PlayStation release date.
90.
When did the PS1 come out? 1994. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, I indeed did have a. Yes, I'm not wrong, by the way, because that's so it's 1993 and then 1995, I think.
Was the 64 was 96.
And the 64 was 96. So I went from the Atari Jaguar to the N64, and then I completely skipped over PlayStation entirely. All my friends had PlayStation, and then I ended up getting a PS2 later.
Yep.
Yeah. Those are rough years I played games, man. Those are rough years. Now I'm realizing, like, I was like, man, I feel like there was a time in my childhood I didn't really play a whole lot of video games. And then I remembered there was a time in my childhood that all I had to play on was an Atari Jaguar.
I was playing on
shit.
I was playing on PC at that time when you were having an Atari Jaguar. And then I went to a Nintendo 64 once my PC took a shit.
I played on, so all I had my Game
Doom
Boy
2 and Quake.
Yeah, I had my Game Boy, and then I had an Atari Jaguar and a Sega Genesis, and that's pretty much all I had. So I played the Sega Genesis more than I played anything else, right?
Yeah.
And my NES, I still have my NES. My NES probably got the most life out of probably any console I feel like I've ever played.
Yeah.
Because I played my NES from like the time I was a Wii Sprout, well through the time that I had a PlayStation 2. Almost up into the time that I had an Xbox 360 or Xbox, actual Xbox. Because like what it was is that like when I would get out of school, I'd have to go to my mom's work and wait until she got off of work, because that was the only time. That's the only way like I'd be able to get home from school. So I would get out of school, I would go home, I would go to my mom's work, and I would stay there. Well, they had a back room, and I would just hang out there, and there was a TV. So I just brought my NES and just put it in there, and then left it there. And then every day I would come home from school, and I would play my NES. And this would be far into Jesus by the time I had a PS2 or even better.
Oh wow.
Yeah. I played a shitload of Tiger Heli.
Tiger Heli.
Heli.
That game used to. Oh, that game was so tilting.
Tiger Heli, Zelda, Super Mario 1 and Super Mario 1, 2, and 3. And what else did I have? There's something else that I played a whole lot too. Metal Gear. Those are the games that were always like constant on rotation. I just keep flipping them. Bam, 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 bam. It's probably why I know, like, still to this day, like, so much muscle memory to those games. They were so good. Atari Jaguar? No, it's okay that none of you guys know what I'm talking about. It's fine. Yeah. Please, you don't need to know, to be honest with you.
Was it the Jaguar that had the television remote, or was that the other one?
The Jaguar had like what looked like a TI-83 calculator for a controller. It was
you know what?
It was the most hideous thing you've ever seen.
My grandmother brought me a TurboGrafx-16 for like my 12th birthday. It was like 4 years after the TurboGrafx-16. Like, oh man,
I'm gonna see if I can find like a video that has like
how bad it was.
Okay, I found like a compilation. This looks like a compilation video. The 10 best quote unquote Atari Jaguar games.
Didn't the Jaguar have a lot of the video, like its actual like video type games?
Like, it did have a few of those. Yeah, it did have a few of those. Yeah. So this has like, look at that fucking controller.
That is almost so bad.
Look at that controller. Oh my god, it's so hideous. 17 buttons, only $159, guys. That was like $1 million back then.
Yeah.
Look at that. You could once you picked up your controller, you could, what? Oh, that's fucking
you could
terrifying.
Pop out of the grass.
Why are these games so terrifying? What are these hairstyles?
Yeah, the one with the.
Look at that. I also okay. So you guys have to respect how much other game systems back in the day would throw shade at other video game systems. Like, the market was so competitive that they would actually be like, you don't need your Super Nintendo or your Sega anymore. Throw those in the bin, because those things are toys. This is a man's system. You got guns, you got soccer, you got spaceship fighting, motorcycles, you got a fucking gecko.
There's a
TurboGrafx 16.
Yeah. See that little slot? That's where the game goes.
Yeah, boy.
So bad. So bad.
Oh my god. Video game marketing 101. Well, these commercials are so funny. Yeah.
Star Fox.
Top 10 games list. They had like a Doom knockoff. Look how fucking horrible this looks. Monsters don't even move. Why is life like this? I would go, oh my god. So I'm trying to
How
see.
is it
Wonder
not
if they
hit
have
scan?
I have no idea. They had this alien game. They had a race car game that was trying to be like a knockoff of I remember this. This is like a knockoff of Mario Kart. I don't know what this was. I don't think I played that. I'm looking for I played this space game a bunch. It started with a C and had a really creepy face on the front of it. I don't remember it now. But sometimes the face would pop up in the corner and be like, "You're going the wrong way." There it is, right there. There it is. There it is. I remembered it. Where'd it go? It just showed it. Oh, okay. Yeah, there's just like this really creepy like Pin Man face that would always pop up on the screen and freak me out all the time. It was fucking terrible. Yeah, it was a terrible video game system, by the way. There it is right there. Look at that face. That's your AI. That's your ship AI that would come and talk to you. You're going the wrong way. You're going the wrong way. And then I would have nightmares. Yeah.
Is there anybody in the chat that is playing Baldur's Gate on console? On the PS5?
Yeah, actually, if you guys
I've got curious about some of the
yeah, if any of you guys that are actually playing on PS5 are in the Discord, let us know how performance and everything feels. I'm actually really interested to know, because I know that the PlayStation 5 version has actually released with all of the current patches.
Yeah.
So I'm very interested in that. I'm very interested to see how that works out. Oh man. Well, you know what, man? I think it's probably we're reaching that 2-hour mark, so I think it's probably time for us to kind of conclude our thoughts here and things like that. I'm gonna take more time with Starfield. I'm going to learn more about it. I'm gonna play more about it. Find probably more things to complain about it. But I also feel like at the same time, I'm probably going to find more things that I like about it as well. I feel like it's going to be a two-handed thing, and that's just me and how I digest games over time. There's certain things that I enjoy more. There's certain things that are very jarring about it because I'm playing it right after coming out of playing Baldur's Gate 3. And also, the other thing, I didn't mention this either, it's not only jarring because of that, but it's also jarring for me coming and playing Armored Core 6 as well.
Yeah.
Because, like, even though I understand one is a mech shooter and the other one has like spaceship controls, it's really weird playing a game where you're like using like a vehicle, and one has incredibly intuitive controls that feel really good to use and the other one doesn't.
Yeah. For me, we are going to be streaming some Baldur's Gate after this, correct? Or are you gonna eat first? Are we streaming right after this, or are you going to take a little bit of a break first?
I will probably be streaming right after this.
Okay, me too. Neither one of us has to work, so we can stay up late and finish our thing. I will not be here next week. I will be in the Bahamas getting my big-ass forehead, my big, white, pale forehead.
I hope you fall asleep with something on your face.
You know what? I don't. I don't. So
hey, can somebody make sure to post? Can somebody post the link to my Twitch channel in the chat, so then that way if people want to come by and watch me stream some video games after this, they can. Yeah. Ian alone will probably I'll probably just take the day to either write or make a video, or I will take the day to play video games. One of the two. I can't imagine. Well, maybe I'll find a guest. Maybe I'll replace Mark. This is the perfect opportunity. What do you guys think? Should we replace Mark? Indifference. But yeah, that's a link to my Twitch channel, twitch.tv/legendary_drops. Make sure you guys go by there and follow it. Right after this podcast finishes, I'm going over to Twitch and I'm going to play video games. So if you guys want to hang out over there and chat and watch me play video games, you can do that. Please do something about the current gaming, what is this? Please do something about the effect of gaming will have on children growing up.
I don't take anything that Ding Dong said because one of his first statements was, "Sorry guys, I'm drunk.
I'm too
I can't
drunk.
Stay around."
Yeah, I saw that earlier. I'm too drunk for this. Now he's like, yeah, but what about the kids?
What about the kids? Yeah.
We talk about them kids. I actually have a video that I did on the development of like social skills and stuff like that. It's how MMOs and how MMOs change you. It's like how Final Fantasy and World of Warcraft change you. And if you want to go watch that actually talks about how you develop like social skills and stuff like that through video games. I do feel like that's probably a good opportunity or a good conversation to have at some point in time. Maybe we'll save that and we'll make it a topic for the next podcast. We'll bring that stuff up. Make sure if you guys have anything that you guys want to talk about in future shows, like the show we'll have week after next, or maybe next week if I find a replacement, drop a comment on this video after it's posted with a question that you guys want us to talk about, and we'll talk about it. Because that's how this works. So, yeah. Mark, you got anything else?
Yeah, you said to get someone to cosplay as me. I don't know if anybody can put on 60 pounds that quick.
Probably not.
I'm pretty good at it.
Right.
Yeah, man, I love doing the podcast. I'm going to miss y'all next week. It's celebrating my 25th anniversary. It's been like 25 minutes underwater. So
I am drowning. Please help.
Yeah.
Blink 3 times if you're in trouble. All right. Thank you guys. See you guys later. Hope you guys enjoyed the show. Love you. And I'll see you guys on Twitch right after this. Going straight to Twitch right after this. So I'll see you guys over there if you want to watch me play some Baldur's Gate 3. Or if you want to see me play some... Baldur's Gate. We'll do some Baldur's Gate. We'll do some co-op. Okay?
Yes, we will.
Okay. All right. We're going to go do some co-op Baldur's Gate in Act 2. So come over to the Twitch channel if you guys want to watch us go do that. Peace, my friends and people. Bye. Twitch name. Drop the Twitch link again, please, if you can. Thank you. There's a Twitch link. You guys can go over there. We'll be over there just in a few minutes. See you guys soon. Bye. Now I got to hit the button.